In this class we want to talk about the role of the sales team. The role of the sales team is to make sales, or to make a sale. It's essential that the company has an effective, well-coordinated sales team with good communications between themselves and between the head office and the sales manager, and that they are well briefed in the product and in the characteristics of the market. Because without a sales team, the company will not generate revenue. Without a sales team, there will be no sales revenue, and no sales revenue means the company cannot exist. The company will not succeed. Now, the selling process it's complex. It's not as straightforward, and it varies from customer to customer and from product to product, and indeed from location to location. And the customer and the salesperson must engage. They must engage each other. They must make contact in order for a sale to take place. So there must be a meeting of minds between the customer and the salesperson. There must be an agreement. And it's important for the salesperson to read the situation accurately, to gauge what's in the mind of the customer, the requirements of the customer, and to try and address those needs and perhaps those fears about making the purchase and make the sale. The process covers a wide range of tasks and must be accomplished before a sale can take place. So sales can only take place if all the prerequisites are done. The customers are identified. Their needs are identified. There is a match between the product attributes and the requirements of the customer, so that the two mesh, and if they do, then a sale is possible. The selling aspect is integrated into the promotional mix. The promotional mix is what exactly should be the emphasis of the business in a particular market. Should it be based on price, or the product, the design of the product, or where it's available, and what sort of distribution mechanism is going to be used? Will it be through outlets or direct sales, or it depends on the nature of the product. If it's a large piece of machinery, clearly it will not be sold on the high street in a shop on the high street. So the selling aspect, it must look at the promotional mix: price, place, product, promotion, and the other P's in the promotional mix if they are required. And the sales team can make or break the sale. Sometimes the sale breaks down not because of the fault of the sales team, but once a potential customer has been identified, and once needs have been identified, then there's a lot of pressure on the sales team to try and bring in the order, to try and make the sale, to identify which product matches the customer needs, identify the price that the customer is willing to pay, and try and make the sale. So there's a lot of pressure on the sales team to try and achieve. Now, the role of the sales team, well, they're responsible for a range of tasks. For example, in identifying potential customers. Well, the sales team will have expert knowledge of a particular market. They will know the companies that operate in the market. They'll know the outlets. They'll know the characteristics of the particular area, whether it's a prosperous area or perhaps an area under decline. What's the average incomes of the consumers? What are the requirements? So the onus is on the sales team to try and identify potential customers within the area. And it's also a question of retaining existing customers. Customer retention is important because this reflects past energy that was spent in trying to acquire the customers. Having acquired them, it's important to keep them. And it's easier to keep customers than to find new ones. It's easier to go and speak to them and talk to them about issues and what they would like to see and any modifications they would like to see to the product, or what are their concerns. Building up a rapport with the customer, trying to retain the customers, trying to build a relationship. It's important to have good sales research. It's pointless sending off a team of salespeople randomly into the market to try and make sales. It's very inefficient. Whereas if there is sales research, if there is detailed research that's been conducted, perhaps sample surveys or questionnaires or focus groups have been conducted in the area, then what's important to the customers should have been abstracted from that information and integrated into the product design. So that the sales team now are going out with a product that they are confident will meet the requirements of the customers in that area. So sales research is very important. Customer and competitor intelligence is also important. Customer intelligence about the requirements of the customer, the needs of the customer, the background to the customers, the economic conditions in the area and so on. But also the chances are there are going to be competitors in the area. Unless the company is lucky enough to be a monopoly in that area, the chances are there will be competitors or potential competitors. So that it's important that their products are looked at and that the company tries to outsmart the competition by being innovative, by being dynamic, by integrating customer requirements efficiently and fast into the product, by giving a more personalized service, by responding frequently and efficiently to customer requests and customer contacts. So there is a competitive issue involved, and the sales team will know this only too well from their contacts in the market. They know there are others there and they need to take those on and beat them. The type of product marketing needs to be carefully worked out. The characteristics of the product, identifying customer needs. What do the customers want? They want a product that will address a particular need. The product needs to be designed to efficiently address that need, and it must be available at a price that the customers can pay. It must look good, it must be efficient, it must be effective in satisfying the need, and as I said, it must be relatively cheap. There must be good customer relations management, good follow-up contacts. It's not just the retention of existing customers, it's actively building the relationships. And this could be done from headquarters. It may be done in the field by direct contact between the salespeople and the customers, or the information is collected and a database is compiled of customers and their requirements, characteristics of the customers and so on, and it's sent back to headquarters, and a dedicated team are able to stay in contact with the customers and build a relationship, perhaps on the phone or through some sort of communications channel, and feed that information to the people in the field, the salespeople in the field, who can then follow up and make more direct contact with the customers, perhaps face-to-face contact, make it more personal. Now, identifying potential customers. Well, organizations need to continue making sales in order to make a profit. So sales and profit, well, sales revenue is half the equation. Profit is just the difference between sales revenue and costs. So it's imperative that the sales team continue to make sales. And they must identify potential customers to make the sales. They must constantly look at potential customers and existing customers, maintain the existing customers, customer retention, but also expand to try and make additional sales, and also to beat the competitors. So they must identify the needs of the customers and the suitability of the products in the context of those needs. They must be assured that the products or services are providing continuous satisfaction. They must make the customers feel that this product is the best product for their requirements, and it's going to make a continuous contribution to customer satisfaction. It's reliable. It does the job effectively. It meets the customer's requirements, and the sales team are used to effectively communicate that message. Now, retaining present customers, as I said earlier, this is crucial. They must look at existing customers and make sure that they are satisfied with the products and services. They must contact them and talk to them and follow up on any issues or any shortfalls in the product in terms of its ability to satisfy customer needs. What did the customers expect, and how were those expectations met or not met? And by having direct contact with the customer, of course, the customers feel that they are important. They're important, and they're helping to design the product. They're giving feedback, and that they feel respected because they are being treated not just as the people who supply the sales revenue, but they are part of the whole process. So it's integrating the customers into the process of the business, taking their attitudes, their opinions, their experiences, their expectations, taking all of that into account and looking at the existing product, seeing what adjustments can be made, what innovations can be brought to bear to more effectively meet customer requirements. The sales team are responsible for maintaining existing relationships with customers. It's the sales team who ultimately will meet the customers, perhaps meet them face to face and talk to them. So they have an opportunity to address questions and build up the relationship and collect information as well. Collect information about the customers that they can build on in the future, so that future contacts are not fresh. Future contacts are like old friends meeting. It's been done before, so it's a follow-up meeting. So the sales team maintain up-to-date sales reports and records of customers. So customers' details, purchase history, and relevant facts will be maintained. So there will be a high volume of sales, and profitability is more stable. Sales are more stable because there's follow-up on existing customers. So the company knows what they sold last year. If existing customers can be maintained, those sales will be roughly the same this year. In fact, the company will be looking for more sales because they'll be looking for new customers in the interim period. But at least they've got what they had last year, if existing customers can be retained. Now, sales research. Well, this is very important because sales research is what gives the sales team in the field the ammunition. It gives them the background. It provides information to the sales team. And this gives them a competitive advantage. They know what the customers want from research. They know from surveys or from focus groups or whatever. They know what customers' concerns are. They know the customers' expectations. So they should be able to tailor what they're saying and the way they present their product in a way that allays customers' fears. And that's important. The sales research identifies mismatches between customers' expectations and products. Once customers' expectations, once their requirements are clearly articulated, then a specific product can be designed to meet that. And this actually can lead to efficiency within the business, because now the business is making a product which is efficient, it's effective. It deals with that concern, the concern of the customers, and that alone. So this means that costs may be reduced, and indeed the price in the market may be reduced. It may be a product which is very specific, meeting a specific customer requirement. It's also important for management. It enables the management to identify strengths and weaknesses within the business. So sales research is a very important activity. It provides information not just about customers and sales and so, but also about the business, how the business is performing, what's the growth rate of the business, how effective is the business in the marketplace. It's providing information to senior management to address issues internally within the business as well. So it provides the management with management with information such as the percentage of successful calls carried out within a time frame. Let's say the business has a phone line, or it sells online, or it sells through sales centres. Now, if customers call in, the phone system should be efficient. How long are the customers going to wait before the phone is answered? And if the call is routed through various people, customers are going to get fed up and leave. So the efficiency of that type of sales effort can be monitored by the number of calls that's missed. Also, how many calls are made on a daily basis. It could be a measure of efficiency. On the other hand, some customers may take longer than others. But providing the sales are made, maybe that's a better measure than the quantity of calls made. The most effective sales technique would be presentations and demonstrations. That's when the sales team can show the product, perhaps at a trade show. Trade shows are good platforms for launching products and seeing what the competitors are doing and meeting customers who are interested in that type of product. And it enables the business to demonstrate the product, show the product. In fact, there are trends in some areas in marketing which shows businesses using video and placing the video on platforms such as YouTube and making videos of the product, how to assemble the product, how to use the product, how to maintain the product. And customers who are interested may go online, look at the video and see if that answers their question, if that is the product that meets their requirements. So it's like a presentation. Information gathered can, of course, be used for forecasting and business planning. Forecasting is always a complicated issue. Forecasting is attempting to look into the future, which is a very difficult task. The future is very difficult to predict, particularly one at a time when there is rapid technological development, like there has been for the last probably 20 years. So, nonetheless, the company has to make some effort at doing it, and whatever information is gathered by the sales force, that could be used as the basis for some sort of planning, forward planning. Now, customer and competitor intelligence. Well, the sales team must know who the customers are and the impact this will have on the customers, the impact the product will have, I should say, on the customers. So they must know the competitors, they must know the customers, they must be aware of the whole environment. The customers will be sought by the competitors as well as the company. And the competitors are not passive, they're active players. They will be using a variety of strategies. They'll be using their promotional mix to maximize the returns that they can get. So the company must navigate its way around those competitive pressures to the customer to try and gain the advantage. So it's a highly complex relationship. The company must contact the customers, but the competitors are trying to do the same. And the customers may get fed up with so many contacts with companies selling essentially the same product. So in the end, the customers just buy one to get rid of the rest. Possible. So it may be a very difficult task for the sales team to cope with. The number of competitors could be an issue. And some competitors may be cheaper, and some may be producing products which is destroying the market. They're producing substandard products, which is destroying confidence in the product range within the market. So all sorts of issues in play when we consider competitors and the customer. The team must understand the external environment, and a pestle is probably a good way of going about it, of looking at competitor analysis. Look at the politics of the area. Look at the politics of the situation in the local community. See what customers' problems are and how they see the world. Are they optimistic or pessimistic? And what do they think the future will be? Look at the economic environment. Is it a declining area or a booming area? Look at the social structure. What sort of social structure is it? What sort of ethnic mix? What are the products required by the different communities who live in the area? Look at the technology and look at the requirements of the customers in terms of the technology. Information is readily available because of smartphones and smart televisions and internet and so on. So customers are more aware, and it's important to engage the customers at that level, meet them at their own level. So perhaps marketing should be targeted online. Marketing should be targeted in a way that makes the customers feel that the product is technologically advanced and it's a product that meets their requirements. Look at the legal situation. Look at court cases to see if similar products have had problems. Have there been cases of injury to customers or faulty products or fraudulent behavior in the market? And look at the environment, because more and more customers are looking to see if products are produced in an ethical way. Are the products destroying the environment? Is the company wasteful? Has it got a bad reputation in the market? So do a pestle and try to get a greater understanding, not just of the competitors, but of the customers, of the whole situation that pertains in that market. The sales department must have a database system where they can store and access information about customers and competitors, suppliers and the industry. So database management is very important in all of this. It's collecting the information, storing the information and being able to retrieve it and to analyze it. And of course that must be done in a legal way. Storing personal information, there are legal implications. There are moral implications involved in doing that. But having addressed those issues and addressed them openly and honestly, databases are still important. Collecting information about markets and about customers and agents within markets is important so that the company can more effectively design its own marketing and sales strategy. Customer and competitor intelligence. Well, maintaining a database allows management and the sales team to access information. And it accesses information on a variety of topics. For example, sales contact. So having a database on sales contact is important. When were the customers contacted? How long did the meeting last? What was said? What was the outcome? Maintaining some sort of contact so that customers are not being pestered, contacted on a frequent basis, and customers build up a resistance and an annoyance from frequent contacts. So they're just contact. It's a question of finding the right time period so that the customers feel satisfied, that it's not intrusive, at the same time it's engaging. Look at the order history and the frequency of repeat purchases. That's important. Are the customers buying the product? Are they coming back to buy it? Are they satisfied with the product? If they're not purchasing it and there is a failure to purchase according to the schedule that was in operation in the past, perhaps customers have found a better product or a cheaper product or one that more effectively meets their needs. It's a question of finding out, using the sales team to try and identify what were the issues. And also looking at outstanding orders or payments, looking at creditworthiness worthiness of the customers. It may be the case that some sales are on credit, in which case it's more expensive and it's more time consuming, it saps administrative energy, but that may be the only way to get the sales. But then there's a question of people not paying or not paying on time. Looking at changes in the current environment. Sometimes situations simply arise that were not anticipated before. The government decides to build a new railway line through the area, which may affect relationships within that area. People are thinking of moving, or property prices have fallen and people feel less well off and are less able to purchase the product in that area, or whatever. So it could be something has happened within the area. It could be that the area has become more prosperous because there's been inward investment, or whatever. But it's a question of maintaining information about the internal and external environments that the business operates in. The sales team certainly should have their fingers on the pulse. The sales team should know what's happening. It's their business to be aware, to be involved, and to feed back information to the business about changes in the market and alerting to the business to any possible changes that are required to the product. Now, product marketing. The role of the sales team is expanding from more traditional face-to-face sales presentations. Over a period of time, sales teams have become more sophisticated in what they do. They make observations, they feed back the observations. They make sales-to-sales presentations, to talk to customers directly, to look at the area in general, to look at the state of the area. Is it developing? Is it declining? To look at local industry and how well the local industry is doing, and they also look at competitors and seeing what campaigns the competitors are waging in the area to make sales against them. So the sales team are the eyes and the ears of the business in the market, and they're getting a fuller picture and feeding back a fuller picture to the business. So their task has become more complex than making sales presentations. They now are involved in painting the bigger picture so the business can make decisions about the area and about its presence in that market. So they're involved in product development, looking at the suitability of the product within the market. They're looking at market development, whether particular markets should be developed or left. They're looking at market segmentation. Should the product be aimed at a certain gender or a certain age group or a certain ethnic community, or should it just be for everyone? So it's looking at issues of market segmentation. And it's also trying to collect information that's suitable for database management and analysis. And on top of all of that, of course, there are the administration duties. The duties to ensure that the work goes on and it goes on efficiently. So it's becoming more challenging and more complex. Customers have more control over their purchases, and this is due to the internet. So customers are shopping online. Customers are not just waiting for a number of competitors to come to the market, to come to them. Customers now may shop globally. They may shop nationally and efficiently and have the products delivered to them more conveniently. So the whole environment is changing, and it's a question for the sales team to find solutions and try to address that whole process, or to come up with strategies that will enable the business to effectively compete in this more complex, this bigger and more complex market. Online resources, such as company websites, which offer information about products and their features, are important. It's important that the company has got a website. It's important that the company is seen as modern. It's seen as one that's capable of making a presence felt in this new medium. It's not new anymore, but to a lot of people it's still relatively obscure. But having a good company website is now essential. So the salesperson in the field can reference the website and portray the company as efficient, modern, forward-looking. It may be the case that the salesperson no longer needs to make direct contact with customers, although the face-to-face situation is still highly valued, highly rated by many customers. There are social networking sites as well, Facebook and WordPress for blogs, and product review sites and testimonials. Customers are asked to rate particular products. Some of the rating system may be suspect because dishonourable companies may use people to rate them, and perhaps people who have no experience of the product. But there are testimonials that are used to give some insight into customer experiences of using the products. Whether those are accurate or not is debatable. And these are sources of information which will help the customer in decision making. So there are social networks and blogs and discussion groups and that sort of facility that's available online which will help decision making by the customer. And customers have become more conscious about the choices they make because they're more aware of what's available in the wider market. Customer relationship management, CRM, well, it's the process of engaging in long-term relationships with the customer. The business tries to collect information about the customer, make contact with the customer, and tries to foster a good relationship with the customer over a long period of time by identifying customers' likes and dislikes, customers' requirements, customers' needs, and trying to address all of that. Address it by making products available that address the requirements of the customer and building up a long-term relationship. It's important that the organization retains its existing customers. Customer retention is very important because it gives some sort of security to the business in terms of sales revenue. But existing customers must be satisfied with the product and continue to make repeat purchases. So they can't be taken for granted. Existing customers should not be taken for granted. They must be cultivated. They must be satisfied by the product. The company must still put effort in to meeting their requirements and their needs and treat them with respect. Treat them not as people who are going to buy irrespective. They must be catered for. But existing customers are profitable for the business, so it is important to meet their requirements. Now finally, the sales team should ensure they build positive relationships through relationship marketing. So the sales team will build positive relationships, will talk about the products to the customers, will deal with issues the customers have. In the event of breakdown or failure of the product, the customer team can be involved and contacted, and they will deal with the customer and perhaps organize a replacement or have it fixed, or they will provide after-sales service, and they will look at the account of the customer to make sure that the customer is satisfied. This of course depends on the nature of the product. I'm assuming here that the product is relatively high value. If it's a smaller product, a smaller and cheaper product, the sales team may be dealing with retail outlets and making sure that the retail outlets are satisfied with the product and that they are selling enough to justify stocking the product. So there are many issues involved in looking at sales teams and what sales teams do, and the importance of sales teams, and indeed some of the factors that are now affecting the sales teams. For example, the growth of internet shopping and the ways in which competitors try to erode sales of the company within certain areas, if possible. So there are all sorts of complexities involved in looking at this topic. But that's all I'm going to deal with for the moment on this topic, so I'm going to leave it at that and say thank you for watching.